The San Francisco 49ers report to training camp today. So on the show, I came up with 20 burning questions for the San Francisco 49ers heading into training camp. Let's get into that list. And a reminder, we're going to be going live right here on the 49ers Report later on today, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific. Make sure you subscribe. Turn on your notifications. Therefore, anytime we do go live or we push out a video, you will be notified. So, of course, we have to start at the quarterback position because there are a lot of questions there and intriguing storylines going into camp. Obviously, number one is the health status of Brock Purdy. If he's ready to go with his play last year, he earned the right to be this team's starting quarterback. And if he's not, then it becomes a quarterback competition between Trey Lance and Sam Darnold. Brock Purdy is ahead of schedule on that Tommy John repair, and I thought what he did last year, Mr. Relevant, final pick in the draft, leadership, command of the huddle, command of the offense, and the overall play was very, very impressive. So speaking of Trey Lance, who is he as a quarterback? There have been videos coming out of his work this past weekend with Jeff Christensen, who is also the private throwing coach for Patrick Mahomes, and the mechanics of the delivery look less loopy than last year and quicker and faster. That could help him just get the ball out quickly, which I think is really, really important. But also with the change of mechanics, is he going to be a more accurate quarterback? His private quarterback coach, Jeff Christensen, did say that Lance will be a different player. And will the mechanical changes help him improve? And overall, him just getting a little bit older, does that lead itself to him just being an improved football player who's a little bit more mature on the field with more reps under his belt? That's the Trey Lance aspect of this. As for the Sam Darnold aspect of this, he has dealt with a lot to start his career. Since coming into the league out of USC in 2018, he's had multiple coaches. He's had multiple offensive coordinators. He's played in a bunch of different systems. Now, he's on the most talented team that he's ever had with the best coaching staff and the best head coach. Can Kyle Shanahan elevate Sam Darnold? He's done that with guys like Kirk Cousins. He had Robert Griffin III winning Rookie of the Year. He had Matt Ryan win an MVP in that offense. And then with San Francisco, his body of work in maximizing quarterback play has been of note. Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, C.J. Beathard, Nick Mullins. Can he do the same with Sam Darnold, who's a very good athlete with a very strong arm? With the quarterback competition, Kyle Shanahan, in an interview with Steve Weish of NFL Network, said that it's not set in stone as for who is going to be the team's starting quarterback. Again, I think it's Purdy if he's healthy, then if not, going to be a battle between Lance and Darnold to see who starts week one against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now to some offensive skill players. Can 2021 Deebo Samuel return? He was an All-Pro that year, and down the stretch, anytime the Niners needed a big play, they seemingly turned the keys to Deebo, and as a running back and a wide receiver, he made plays happen. Since coming into the league, he is the leader among all wideouts in picking up yards after the catch. He's a menace to bring down in the open field, and as an overall weapon, he's a very special player. After last year, during OTAs this year, he did say, look, I was disappointed in myself. I was a little bit slow and sluggish. I won't put that on film again. It's going to help him that he has an all-pro caliber player in Brandon Aiyuk by his side, because Aiyuk in 2022 emerged as one of the best wideouts in the game. Footwork, yards after the catch ability, home run threat, very reliable hands, great route runner. And to Kyle Shanahan, my message is very, very simple. Make him the wide receiver one and make him a bona fide option in this offense. I know that you like to run the football a lot, and it's become the staple for this offense. But Aiyuk is really special, and you have to find a way to get special playmakers the rock. He's gotten better and better and better in each of his 3 seasons in the National Football League, and I still think he's slept on somehow. I think that if the Niners throw him the football a lot, he could be a guy who has 1,500 yards and 10 to 15 touchdowns this year. The George Kittle-Brock Purdy connection last year was dominant down the stretch, and Kittle had his best year since 2019 before he landed that massive contract extension when he was an All-Pro. Last year, second-team All-Pro. And in the final 4 games of the season, George Kittle had 7 touchdowns. He was one of the go-to options for Brock Purdy, and they seem to have a really good connection where they kind of knew each other's game and mindset a little bit, and that can only help a young quarterback to have that security blanket and a guy who's also very difficult to bring down in the open field in George Kittle. Let's hope that he can stay healthy. Let's also hope that Christian McCaffrey can stay healthy. What is his realistic ceiling in this offense? In 11 games after getting traded to San Francisco, he had 1,200 all-purpose yards. If he played all 17, could have had nearly 2,000 all-purpose yards. And I think that he's capable of doing that this year. I think that he can be an all-pro. I think that he can be a top fantasy option. I think that he can be a 2,000 all-purpose yards back and a threat on the ground and through the air. And I also think he can be an MVP candidate given the impact that he has on this team. To the offensive line, let's talk some trenches here. Always like talking about the big boys up front. Aaron Banks, can he be an all-pro? He showed that level of quality of play last year. And in 2022, barely surrendered any sacks and 526 pass blocking snaps. And then from him at left guard to the right tackle. Will Colton McKivitz hold up in protection? The last 2 years, according to Sharp Football Analysis, he gave up a 7.5 pressure rate. That would have ranked last year 62 out of 67 for all offensive tackles. Bad offensive line play can certainly plummet your season. It can rip you apart with a quarterback injury or the lack of being able to pass protect or run the football. A lot of pressure on Colton McKivitz and the San Francisco 49ers for him to produce because they are in the 20th percentile in offensive line spending heading into this year. They neglected this position. They decided to not pay Mike McGlinchey. And if they ignore this position and it becomes one of the positions that curtails a season in which they should have a lot of success, they are to blame, is that front office. We're going to get to the defensive side of the ball in just a second, but first, what is your one big burning question for the San Francisco 49ers going into 2023? Get creative, go into that memory bank, get the creative thoughts together, and let me know in the comments section. And of course, before we get to the defensive side of the ball, San Francisco. You know, I like to say it on the air, and you can wear it as a shirt. Couple different colors available as well. The red one that I'm rocking and the black one as well. If you love the 49ers report, you want to support the show, but also you love the San Francisco 49ers, this saying right here, iconic. You can get your shirts at chatsports.com/SF. Get geared up for the season. Preseason is here in just a couple of weeks, which is absolutely bananas because this year is straight up flying by. We'll put that link in the comments section and in the description of this video. Let's talk some defense here. The Javon Hargrave impact. After the year, I had said, get Nick Bosa some help, get Nick Bosa some help, get Nick Bosa some help. 49ers did that by signing Javon Hargrave to a 4-year, $84 million contract. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the game, a career-high 11 sacks last year, 16 quarterback hurries for the Philadelphia Eagles. He caused so much destruction along that Philadelphia defensive line. Him as an anchor alongside Nick Bosa could prove to do wonders for this 49ers defense this year under new defensive coordinator Steve Wilks. Will Javon Kinlaw make the squad? That's a pressing question here. 22 starts since being a first-round pick in 2020, 1.5 sacks during that span. And the 49ers did decline his fifth-year option. If he doesn't play well and he gets hurt once again, his future is in doubt for the Niners. Who steps up opposite of Nick Bosa? He had 41 more pressures than his next best teammate last year. That is a problem. Samson Ebukam was second best, and they are now relying on Drake Jackson to be the guy who can step up going into year 2 opposite of Bosa. Now, I've seen some workout videos for Jackson. During OTAs, he talked about how he added weight. Kyle Shanahan said that he got off to a good start last year, which he did. Then he tailed off because he got tired. If Drake Jackson, Cleveland Ferrell don't come to play, that's going to be a problem because Nick Bosa needs some help. To the linebacking unit, who replaces Azeez Al-Shire, who followed Rand Carthon to the Tennessee Titans? Fred Warner and Dre Greenlaw form one of the best linebacking duos in the NFL. You don't have to worry about them, but who is that third backer in this 4-3 scheme? State of the cornerbacks. Deommodore Lenoir and Charvarius Ward are going to be the top 2 outside cornerbacks if healthy. Who takes snaps in the slot and who will back them up. This is a position group that I like, especially with the spending there, but the depth is a little bit of a concern. And then to safety. Will Jair Brown be able to start? Deshaun Gibson is slotted to start alongside Talanoa Hufanga going into camp, and Gibson played at a borderline all-pro level last year. But Jair Brown has received rave reviews so far. And at Penn State, he was an all-around playmaker at every level of the field and from sideline to sideline. A player like that with the instincts that he has can make his imprint on the game like Hufanga, and Brown has a similar feel to the game. And speaking of Talanoa Hufanga, what is his ceiling? He earned all-pro honors in year 2. He was terrific. And I don't just say this because of the Polynesian connection or the hair. He plays with this hair on fire, and he can play at the line of scrimmage, linebacker, corner, safety, all around the field, and be used as a chess piece in this defense like a Trey Polamalu. And he has some of those diagnosing skills where he can read plays before they happen. He knows where he needs to be on the football field. He has an incredibly high ceiling. For him to be a 5th-round pick out of USC and to be an all-pro in year 2, really impressive. Can he take yet another leap forward and solidify himself once again as one of the game's best? Can Jake Moody live up to the hype? The rookie enters the season with a lot of pressure after being a 3rd-round pick. Is he going to be able to take that pressure in stride and make kicks? Because if he doesn't, the 49ers let go of a guy in Robbie Gould who never missed a kick in his playoff career. Automatic when it counted. Jake Moody has a big leg, strong leg, very clutch at Michigan, but if he misses kicks and his confidence is rattled early in his career, that's a problem because San Francisco passed up on a lot of good players in the 3rd round at more positions of need than kicker, and they still drafted Moody in that spot. Can Kyle Shanahan win the big one? A lot of people have an issue with Kyle Shanahan as a head coach, but I disagree. Guy's one of the elite head coaches in this league. Play designer, the scheme, the system, him as a play caller, he's truly one of the best to do it. But the big game has eluded him, and he's come up short in big spots. He still had a lot of success. 3 NFC title games over the last 4 years and a Super Bowl appearance sprinkled in there back in 2019. He has a 6-3 playoff record. If Brock Purdy doesn't get hurt against the Eagles, who the hell knows what actually happens in that game in Philadelphia. He's a great coach. But to be in the upper echelon, and if he wins a Super Bowl, he's considered one of the finest offensive minds of all time. How much will Nick Bosa get paid? This contract is going to happen at any moment now, and I highly doubt that he is going to take the practice field, first practice on Wednesday, by the way, if he doesn't have that large contract. How the Niners like to do business traditionally, they wait until training camp is either about to start or underway to give their homegrown talent contract extensions. And I think that Nick Bosa will become the highest paid defensive player in the history of this game and overtake Aaron Donald. Lastly, this is a bonus question here. So 21 for you because we always like to give you great content here on the show. Is this general manager John Lynch's last year? He's been pursued by broadcasting jobs the last couple of off seasons, and I thought it was pretty telling that assistant general manager Adam Peters, who's had a bevy of interviews with other teams over the last couple of years, Houston Texans, New York Giants, Arizona Cardinals have been interested, a couple of other teams, he decided to stay on board as the assistant general manager. Does he know that he's next in line? He's good friends with Kyle Shanahan. They have a very tight working relationship, and John Lynch has done a great job alongside Shanahan since 2017. But he's getting a little bit older. He's been in the game of football for a really long time. If he wants to make more money and broadcast and call games, that might be his next calling. Adam Peters is the ideal replacement. Keep an eye on the status for John Lynch after this season. If you enjoyed today's show, real one, roll call. Give me a real one down below. And that means that you're a real one because you stayed with us up until the culmination of this program wrapped up. So we appreciate all of you for tuning into the show. 49ers training camp, it's officially here. Niners reporting today. We're going live today as well, 5 o'clock Eastern, 2 o'clock Pacific, and you can count on us for the best 49ers training camp updates.